Michelle here. Excuse my slight glow. I just ate the spiciest kimchi that I made, and even though it's really spicy, I think it might be one of my best batches yet. So happy about it. But yeah, I just ate my quick breakfast, lunch, whatever you want to call it, and gonna get started with my day. I really wanted to do a little Q&A today while I do a little bit of painting and drawing because I feel like I'm in a little bit of a rut artistically, so I want to kind of play around with different materials, and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. Also, pardon my crazy hair, I just washed it and it's kind of just doing its own thing. But all right, so first off, I need to get my painting supplies down, which might be an obstacle because I'm not going to let you see. I don't know why. I just throw stuff right here. That's like the landing spot, and then I try to keep a pathway otherwise, but there's a lot of stuff there, so. Have not painted in a while, and oh, that was close. All right. So these are my supplies. I just have acrylic paints in here, but I mean, acrylic paints last pretty long as they don't get hard and crunchy. So that's my paint bag. And then here I also have my artist palette, which is extremely dusty from being in here, which looks like this. And I know it looks like there's a lot of paint left on there, which there is, but I kind of do that on purpose. I just kind of like the look of it. It like almost starts to look like a topographical map, you know, like I almost feel like I could frame this and be like, hey, it's art. But yeah, this is like a weird plastic board that I found in my freshman dorm. And I needed a painting palette, so I was like, all right, perfect. I'm gonna use that as my palette. And taking a note from the artist Chuck Olson, he doesn't scrape off his palette after he's done painting, and he kind of just like lets it build up. So that's what I've been trying to do since college, which I'm not gonna say how many years ago that was because I have no idea. Okay, so I know that my studio upstairs was a lot sunnier and, I don't know, a nice environment to get dirty, I guess, but I'm gonna work here at my dining table because I have a little bit more space. And honestly, when you're an artist that works from home, pretty much all spaces in your house become your studio. So that being said, I have clutter and art and stuff littered throughout my house. I have been doing my paintings recently on this like scrap burlap kind of stuff that I have, and then I put gesso on it, so it kind of becomes this almost like stiff canvas kind of material. Unfortunately, I don't have any preps right now with gesso, so I think I'm just gonna like cut a little square and kind of just play around because I seriously haven't painted in so long, and I feel like I don't need to be too precious about it. I just need to paint something. I'll cut a little square here. But yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I said the other day that I wanted to do a little Q&A and just kind of answer your questions slash have kind of a more chill week, I guess, in terms of footage and editing. Hopefully, we'll see. I guess I would say since 2020 or so, 2021, I think, when I changed my business name from Keta Metals to Keta Handmade, I've been trying to diversify my work and have different forms of art for sale on my website. So that includes work from metalwork, ceramics, and paintings. I don't think I've ventured farther out of that, but just the idea of kind of being a more well-rounded artist and kind of going back to my roots, because Because when I first started doing art, I definitely was more of a two-dimensional artist. Definitely enjoyed printmaking and painting a lot in college. So I don't know. It's good to get back into these things, and it's also good to work those parts of your brain that you haven't in a while, whether it's academics wise or art wise, you know? Because I definitely feel that doing different forms of artwork informs your other modes of creating, you know? All right. And I know I already said this upstairs, but I'm kind of going through what I feel like to be a little bit of an artistic rut. So that kind of segues well into some of these questions. One of them, the first ones I want to answer is, what is your inspiration, and like how do you find inspiration? I find inspiration and get out of artistic ruts kind of the same way. Is I really enjoy looking to nature. If I'm ever feeling uninspired, I do my best to make a point to go outside in nature, walk around, just observe my surroundings. I feel like a lot of my pieces are kind of inspired by nature. I feel like it's just like such a beautiful, inspiring thing, like Mother Earth. And being in a creative rut too, it's really great to go outside, switch up what kind of modes you are creating in. Experimenting with different mediums just opens the door to thinking about forms and textures and shapes and composition in a different way sometimes. And yeah, I think it's really important. I definitely try to put my phone down and not be on Instagram and TikTok so much, because seeing other people, what they're doing, comparing myself to them, feeling bad that I'm not in the mood to make art or something, it's like things like that. They don't motivate me to want to make art. So usually putting my phone down is step one if I'm feeling like this. Um, but yeah, I would say a lot of my inspiration comes from nature, and I really enjoy like repetition of lines and patterns and rhythm and things in nature that are like asymmetric or just naturally flawed. But let me get started here with some of these paintings, because I feel like I'm just going to end up sitting and talking instead of actually painting. So I just want to make sure I'm getting something down on paper, because not paper, something down on my canvas, because I think this is going to be a good exercise for me. All right, these look bad, but for some reason, I also enjoy working on multiple paintings at once, kind of like switching back and forth and adding and subtracting things that I like and don't like from other pieces. So I'm going to try to also do that simultaneously with just 3 mini paintings. I have pulled out the paints, the colors that I want to use. It's probably been a couple years since I re-upped on acrylics, but I got these the last time I went shopping for acrylics. I went to Blick and got a bunch of golden artist acrylics. So these ones are pretty good. I have a lot in this bag that are way too crunchy to use, so I'm not gonna deal with that right now. I'm gonna do a little bit of this. I also really enjoy using just regular black and white, which, where's my black paint? Oh well, maybe I don't need it right now. Next question I would like to talk about, I guess, is how did you get into jewelry and metals? For those of you that don't know, I live in Philadelphia right now. I have been here for over 10 years, honestly. And I went to Tyler School of Art at Temple University, and I majored in the metals, jewelry, and CAD/CAM program. But that wasn't an easy point to get to in my artistic career. I had a really hard time choosing that major. I honestly think My first introduction to doing jewelry and metalsmithing was in high school in my just regular art class. I had a teacher that gave us a block of wax and literally just told us to carve, and she actually cast whatever we carved in sterling silver. And I didn't really think much of the project then, but it's a technique that I do all the time now. So it's really funny that I did it back when I was in like, I think like 8th grade or something for the first time. Um, but yeah, I made a ring in 8th grade and I really liked it. And I used to wear it all the time. And then I lost it in the ocean. So I don't know. I wonder sometimes if someone found it or if it's just sand now. But yeah, I don't know. I went to Tyler School of Art. Your first couple years there, they kind of try to break you. First year there was my foundation year, freshman year, and did not really get the opportunity to take any electives or fun classes. Uh, they call it the foundation year because you're literally working on your foundations of your art practice. So I would have like 6 hours of drawing, 6 hours of 2D, 6 hours of 3D. I had a computer class and like also doing just regular classes like gen eds and stuff. But it wasn't until my junior year when I really had to pick a major. And honestly, getting there was kind of tough because I was really enjoying all of my classes that I was taking. At that time, I was taking some ceramics classes and I was taking printmaking and I was really enjoying my metalsmithing class that I was taking. But yeah, I just didn't know what I wanted to commit to. Because I really enjoyed doing all of those things, those art forms. Oh, can't open this. I pretty much waited till the last possible minute to declare my major, and I remember it clear as day. Walking out of Tyler, had a super long like studio day, was just like in a daze walking out of the front lobby, and I saw the senior class of the metals department setting up for their senior show that was happening the following week. And something about that, I was just like in awe. They weren't even done setting up. They were like polishing their boxes, putting their work in. And I'm standing there like, oh my goodness, all of this work is so beautiful. You get to display it on these beautiful pedestals and have a show, and all of the work looks so professional and well done that I want to do that next year. So, just like that, that's how I decided. And yeah, and then I graduated college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I worked in the service industry for a while, and from working in the service industry, I was able to make money and kind of slowly but surely build up my jewelry studio, which, if you don't know, investing in all of these jewelry supplies and tools and everything, it's pretty expensive. And I'm definitely glad that I did it the way I did, of just like piecing together my studio as I had money come available, because I just don't know if I would have recovered if I just like went all in and bought a ton of stuff at once, you know? So I don't know. I pretty much started making jewelry for myself first, and I would like wear it to work at my restaurant job, and my coworkers or the regulars that would come in would be like, "Oh, I love your earrings. Can I buy a pair from you?" And that's kind of how the whole me selling artwork started. I kind of realized that people wanted to buy the stuff that I was making, so I made a website and started selling my work, and I pretty much have not looked back. All right, I already know that I'm going to be unhappy with these paintings because I did not gesso these, so the paint is kind of just like really getting absorbed into the fabric, but it's okay. It's okay. Our next question here, what is your favorite thing to make? I would say I am guilty of being a solely earrings girl. Like, I don't really wear too many rings anymore because working with my hands, I don't really like having things like banging around. I hate wearing bracelets for the same reason. And I wear necklaces occasionally, but just something about it, I just sometimes feel constricted if I have something around my neck. So earrings seem like the next best option if you wanted to wear jewelry. And I do like wearing jewelry, but I like the ease of just like throwing on really simple earrings and just something about the way a fun pair of earrings can change your mood and your outfit and whatever. It's just like, I love earrings. Do you have a favorite type of earring? Like posts versus dangles? I actually really like both of them. I would say if I'm going on the smaller side of earrings, I like them to be posts. I just feel like a dangle earring calls for a longer or a bigger earring, whereas smaller earrings, sometimes having a post just makes more sense. Oh, that's funny. Someone asked if I had a favorite spot for creating in my house. And like I said earlier, I love creating all over my house. Honestly, if I could, I would do everything from my couch probably, but it's not really an option when you do metal work like I do. But in terms of doing metal work, I love being in my studio, just surrounded by my mess and debris. And when it comes to other forms of artwork, I kind of like to get out of my studio if I can. So that means like sitting here at the table, sitting at the couch, or I don't know. When the weather gets nice, I really want to take some stuff to the park and just work outside because that is what I crave. Another question here. Do you use a sketchbook either for planning designs or just drawing, writing, etc.? So I used to be better actually about using my sketchbook, but it wasn't usually for actually sketching, especially for jewelry. I feel like I don't sketch my plans ahead of time very often. I kind of like to just go into the studio and see what happens if I'm trying to make something new. Obviously, I make sketches if I'm trying to do a custom or I need to illustrate these designs to other people. You know, it's definitely good to be able to communicate what you have in your head and what you think the piece is going to look like. But that being said, I actually invested in an iPad at the end of last year, and I've been really enjoying using Procreate for my sketching because I'm not the best drawer all the time. So having Procreate and being able to kind of tweak things as you go really easily was very attractive to me. Also, I definitely struggle from like empty page anxiety. So the fact that Procreate is so low stakes commitment, like you can scribble out something and if you don't like it, you can just erase it. It doesn't have to, it's not like you ruin a canvas by creating a design that you don't really like. Uh, but yeah, it's been super helpful helping me proceed with customs and stuff because I'm able to illustrate my ideas better and have more confidence in terms of the sketches that I show to my clients. And especially with those house pieces that I've been doing, having Procreate has been like a lifesaver because just like getting the dimensions and the perspective right on a lot of those house pieces is pretty tough. And using Procreate and like the drawing assist with like the lines and the grids, super helpful. On that topic, someone asked, love the houses and the prints that you make too. Do you enjoy making non-functional things too? Um, I think so. I think I do enjoy creating art for art's sake. I don't necessarily think that art or the things you make always have to have a function. There's definitely been a couple metal pieces I've made in the past that are purely just for looking at. They're not for wearing, they're not for necessarily even hanging in a certain place in your house. It's just something that I made that I thought was pretty, and I'll try to insert a couple examples of what I'm talking about. Is there a material you dream of using if cost wasn't an issue? Yes, I would say if I had a choice to, and if me investing in the materials upfront were a non-issue, I think I would make everything in silver and gold, honestly, because just the quality of those metals and the fact that they don't tarnish that much, and also working with sterling silver or silver in general and gold, it feels like you're working with butter. Like the material moves so easily. It's not super hard like bronze, brass, and I don't know, the material just feels really, really nice. But that being said, a lot of people can't afford those price points, so I don't really like to invest in making those pieces unless I know for sure that someone's going to buy them. I'm trying to change my thought process around that because I feel like if I invest in myself and invest in my work, then other people will want to, but it's kind of hard to do that when gold is so expensive right now and in general. So yeah, that's what I would create in if I had the choice. Just gold for days. Another question here. How do you feel about commissions versus personal work? What are your processes, enjoyment, etc.? So I really enjoy doing commissions and customs. I haven't always felt that way. I definitely feel a little bit intimidated by the whole process. I think because I get nervous that I'm not going to make what the client wants, or they're not going to be happy with what I make them. So sometimes getting customs off the ground takes a minute for me. It's a lot of kind of mental anxiety of just me having slight imposter syndrome, me not knowing how to price my customs quite right, which I'm getting better at, but it's definitely tough. I'm starting to be more open to them because of the fact that I'm able to better illustrate my ideas through Procreate and communicate with people a little bit better. And also, yeah, it's just really special to make these pieces that are so personal to you. So like making these house pieces that I've been making, it's just so amazing that people are giving me this glimpse into their life by immortalizing their homes. And I really actually enjoy the back and forth that we have about like the positioning of stuff and people being surprised that I included like the little details that they didn't think I was going to include. So it really is rewarding to do customs for people that appreciate handmade stuff. Um, that being said, doing customs for people that don't really understand the handmade process and the pricing around it, that's not my favorite. Because although I'm here for it, I don't necessarily want to be the one educating you about custom artwork and how you should be treating artists when they give you a quote or an estimate, because that's an intimidating topic and it's different for everybody. But I just know what works for me. Maybe I'll do a video on that in the future. But for now, yeah, it's been nice doing customs throughout the year. I feel like it helps my income be a little bit more stable instead of just relying on shop updates and orders from my website, because obviously doing custom work, you're able to charge a little bit more because that piece is going to be one of a kind. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just putting color down, and that might be all that I do today for these pieces, but just the color in general is kind of giving me life. All right, so I managed to get this white acrylic paint open with brute force and my impeccable muscles, but I feel like I might have to take a break soon because it's getting a little too wet for me to work with. But I do have a couple more questions that I just wanted to finish up with real quick before I end this little painting session with you. Love your cats. What's their names? What's up with them? Thank you. I love them too. They are my best buds. So we live in South Philly with 3 cats. Definitely is a lot sometimes, but I don't know if I would have it any other way because working from home with no coworkers, these little buddies become your like coworkers and your friends. So I brought 1 cat to the relationship and my partner brought 2. I'm sure you've seen before, but Ollie is our oldest cat. He's been my best bud for almost 10 years now. His birthday's coming up in March, and he's just like the sweetest cat ever. He literally acts like a dog, so food motivated. It's kind of annoying, but it's also kind of funny. Like, he will literally steal food out of your mouth if you gave him the opportunity, which my friend actually has a video of that I'll see if I can post for you because it's so funny. Our middle cat, who is about 8 years old, we think, his name is Kylo Ren, and he's our little black kitty. And he's super cute and funny and particular, and like, I don't know, his mannerisms sometimes just like crack me up. But that being said, he's also probably our most troublesome cat sometimes because he tends to get sick a lot. Like, he's very sensitive to the things he eats. And he was actually sick last weekend, and I pretty much was just following him around the house, cleaning up after him. But those are the things we do for the ones we love. And then his sister is little baby Ray, which is what I call her, but her name is Ray. And we think she's about 6 years old. And she's like super cute. She loves being outside watching the birds and is just like super cuddly all the time. I really love all of them. I can't imagine a life without having little furry friends around. All of our cats are technically Philly street cats, I would say. Ollie didn't technically come from the streets, but his mom did. Like, someone found his mom in a park and took her home, and then they realized that she had kittens, and Ollie was one of them. And then I'm pretty sure Kylo was adopted from Paws, and then Ray was also found on the streets. So yeah, Philly is definitely riddled with a lot of cats in the streets. Definitely trap and release them if you can. You have the abilities and the means to, because the stray cat population is definitely, I think, an issue in a lot of places, but I don't know. It's just something to think about. All right, and let's do my last and final question. All right, what's up with the RV and when will you guys be done with it? Someone asked. Okay, so this has been kind of a question that people love to ask, and it kind of stresses me out because we have admittedly not worked on the RV since last year, because since it got cold and since I was busy with like the holiday season, we kind of took a step back from it. But last September and like October, we actually were going almost every weekend to work on it. For those of you that don't know, my partner and I got a 1989 Chieftain Winnebago RV that we plan to travel in and hopefully have a little travel studios in, ideally so that we can travel around and maybe look for land that we want to purchase in the future. But yeah, needless to say, it's been a huge project and very overwhelming. There's been a lot of water damage, as most RVs have, especially old ones. But yeah, so we weren't sure at first what we were gonna, if we were gonna like completely gut it or just kind of try to piece it together. But once we started pulling back more and more of the fabric, the walls, the floor, we found a lot of water damage. So we've decided to pretty much gut it. And that's kind of the state it's at right now. If you ask Dreyer, he would say that we're probably about the third of the way gutted. I think we're about half, but maybe I'm wrong. Everything does take a long time to do because when you're taking apart an RV, it's like very strange to see how they put it together. Like a lot of times you don't have access to the screws and the bolts and stuff that they put the furniture in with because of like the way that they constructed the RV to begin with. And I don't know, it's just been overwhelming. We definitely plan to get back into it when the weather gets a little bit more consistently warm, I think, slash maybe we'll just go and bear the cold. But we really need to get a move on with that because it's currently parked at Dreyer's mother's house. God bless her, because it is a big hunk of vehicle. It is about 31 feet, I think. But yeah, we kind of have this grand idea of fixing it up, each of us putting our own sort of like travel studio into it, and then also hopefully having enough space for the cats to join us on our journeys. Which I know that sounds like really ambitious because it is. Oh, yeah, and we also plan to start a YouTube channel to document this journey, but being a YouTuber is proving to be a lot of work. Ooh. So this is what they look like so far. I don't know why I went very primary colors with them, but whatever. And like I said, I definitely want to layer them up more and probably add maybe some like black and white lines on there. It's definitely more of the kind of abstract painter and artist. I don't really do actual like figurative work very often when it comes to painting and drawing. I kind of like to just make weird blobby shapes. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to put these aside for now. I do think I answered all of the questions that y'all had for me. It was really fun kind of talking more about my process and kind of talking about what inspires me and just these random questions that you guys have. I hope that I answered whatever questions you had. If you feel like I didn't cover something enough, or if you're confused about anything I was talking about, feel free to leave it in the comments or shoot me an email with another question. I definitely think I'll be doing these Q&As like sprinkled throughout my videos just because, I don't know, I think it's the point of being on YouTube is that I'm able to kind of connect with you a little bit further instead of just the face value that you see on Instagram. And I'm able to kind of explain in depth a little bit more why I do the things I do, how I do the things I do, and just like the way I make art and how I think about art. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I'm gearing up to have a really fun weekend. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl, so I plan to work really hard for the rest of the week so I can just take it easy this weekend and have fun, hoping that they win, hoping that I see some really fun celebrations in the streets because Philly really, really turns out for their sports teams. And I'm not even into sports, but it's like contagious when you're around people that are so excited about it. You can't help but get excited about it too. So, although I say all the time that I want to pack up all my stuff and move away to the woods, I'm here for Philly, here to support my city, and yeah, just really excited for the weekend. But I'm going to try to power on, get a couple more things done today, and maybe start editing this video, I guess. Yeah, editing takes me a while, so I should probably start that. All right. But thank you all so much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I would really, really love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel. I'm just getting started right now, and any support that you can offer me is very, very helpful. And Let me know about what kind of videos you want to see in the future, and I will try my best to make them for you. Thanks everyone. I'll see you later.